Not how I was expecting to start this week. Vita and I were just about to do some yoga. Vita likes to either sit on the mat with me or she likes to go in her bed under the range here. And I saw her head that way and then I reluctantly pull up and look with an air of bemusement. And it was at that point that I noticed there was water underneath the range. And that is because the range has sprung a leak. The range has a back boiler. This is a wood burning stove. So in the back of the firebox here, there's a back boiler which connects to these pipes, which is how we get our hot water. And so I have managed to trace the pipes to a tap to turn the hot water off. So I currently am without hot water, although luckily I do still at least have cold. What I'm not currently sure is if I can light the range in this position. I've opened up there is a fire going, but I've opened up the vents fully just to try and burn that out as quickly as possible. So I can essentially see what's going on. But it is looking like, on top of the problems that I was having with my chainsaw, the range is either going to need a new back boiler or potentially more likely is going to need to be replaced. And there's a high probability in the process most of this plumbing will need to be replaced as well, because it's pretty old and dodgy. So sadly, it looks like I may be spending the next few days pretty cold and unable to wash properly, and until we can get a plumber out, which hopefully won't be too long, but also fingers crossed not over the long weekend, because I don't want to pay that sort of money. We'll find out before too long the situation with the range, but we can but hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst, I suppose. Anyway, it's all been a bit doom and gloom so far for me this Easter long weekend. I hope you had a better one than I am having, but if not, my empathies are with you, and I suppose let's be for real. There'll be plenty of people having a worse time of it than me, so that is something that I do want to acknowledge. I appreciate. Anyway, I'll catch up with you later, hopefully doing something a bit more positive. Well, welcome to Easter Sunday. Not quite how I'd hoped to start today. Anyway, what can you do? I've turned off the water, and I'm assuming this is just going to keep going until the immersion tank is emptied. It's quite a big tank. So we could be here for some time. Well, you join me in bed because, as you can possibly tell, I have taken a turn for the worst health-wise, and I'm not currently feeling the best. So the situation here is that the range did stop leaking eventually. I was at it, bailing it for an hour and a half. I decided to turn off all of the water to the house. Luckily but weirdly, the toilet is on a different system altogether, so the toilet is still flushable, but I have no other running water, and obviously I'm still without heat. I can't light the fire in the range because the system could explode, and so I'm not keen to have that happen. I'm going to try phoning the boiler place, the fireplace today, but it's Easter Monday, so there's every chance they'll be closed. I'm still weighing up in my mind if I might head up the hill to continue clearing the Firebreak. I didn't do anything like that yesterday. What I did do instead was clean the windows. So I thought I'd give myself lighter duties. But I do want to try and get at least
project finished if I can. But anyway, I'm still weighing up in my mind if that's going to be a good idea or not. I do still plan to light the bonfire tomorrow, regardless of whether I do any work on the Firebreak today. There's enough material on the bonfire to make that worthwhile. So I guess I'll update you when I know a bit more about what I'm up to, whether I'm up the Firebreak or whether it's just to update you what was happening with the range. And hopefully tomorrow we can go out with the bonfire if nothing else. So it's not going great as mentioned previously, but what can you do? I'll see you with some sort of news at some point in the future. I've got out of bed, decided to make myself a hot drink. Luckily we have the electric kettle and the microwave, which is also a grill and a steamer, so I can still eat and have hot drinks. I'll turn that off for a sec. But if you're interested, I'm a big fan of this type of thing actually. I don't think it's possible to cure a cold with medicine, but certainly I think it's possible to help. So I've got this cold and flu tea, and actually I've got a different one in the cupboard which I'll be opening soon, but it's similar. And then I'm trying this one from a company called the Tea Centre. It's got all sorts of lovely stuff in it, and actually I think it it really helps. Sorry, excuse my voice. So I'm going to brew myself up a nice cup of this, and then actually I'll show you the cupboard I have. That's the new batch of tea. I'll be taking some of these immunity support tablets, echinacea, garlic, zinc and vitamin C. So I like to do everything I can to help my body along as it tries to combat this. And I have decided that I'm going to go up the hill and do some more work on the Firebreak. I may not get a lot done, but the idea of doing nothing makes me more unhappy than the idea of going up there and doing something. So anyway, that's my decision. And I will head up there in about an hour or so once I've tried to phone the heating place. And I'll let you know how that goes. I've made it down to the bottom of the Firebreak. Let me just pick this up. One that got away. So, I've managed to trim the hedge, take out some of the bigger plants with the reciprocating saw, and then I've given it all a good trim with the brush cutter. I'm going to take a break now because I'm pretty tired, and then after lunch probably I might come and just do this little bit here, and then that'll be that job done, which would be great. I've tried the range heater place a couple of times this morning, and I just keep getting their out of hours answer phone message, so I'm working on the assumption they're closed today. Fair enough. It was always, probably more likely they'd be closed than not, but anyway, that means that first thing tomorrow morning I'll be on the phone and trying to hopefully get someone up to help us work out how we move forward with this situation. We've actually got quite a lot of options, and it's all a bit confusing as to which is the best way forward. So hopefully they can help with that, and then I'll let you know what's happening when I know. I'll see you in a bit. That's that done. Very pleased with that. And whilst I had it out, I took the brush cutter to these mounds, which are actually, believe it or not, ants' nests. So everything's on a bit of a different scale here. Believe it or not, I'm also quite used to having people trespassing on the property. I mean, I know that's a bit of a strong term, people accidentally wander on the property, but I've just had a rider on a horse come through. That's the first time I've had that. It can be quite easy to stumble on our property, to be fair, but anyway, so I showed her the gate and pointed her in the right direction, and I hope she enjoys the lovely ride. It's a beautiful afternoon actually, so hopefully her Easter will end on a high Whereas, well, no, mine's not going to not end on a high. I'm glad I got out and did this. It can be so easy when you're feeling a bit under the weather to sort of bed rot. But I think getting out and about in the sunshine, bit of gentle exercise has done me the world of good. No word from the boiler people yet, so obviously they're definitely shut today. I will be in touch with them tomorrow after I've lit the bonfire. So we'll be going out hopefully on some positive news and at least on a lovely, fingers crossed, bonfire situation to see out this Easter long weekend. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Here we go then. Let's see how we get on with this. Sadly, it rained a bit not that long ago, which it wasn't supposed to. So even this might go wrong. I'm really not in any sort of higher powers good graces this long weekend. But hopefully the material itself is sufficiently combustible that a bit of rain won't dampen its spirits. What I like to do, if you don't know, is I've got little fire lighters and I put cardboard on top of the bonfire and I keep adding cardboard until the bonfire is burning itself, and I keep the cardboard in this little cupboard underneath the library water tank. Let's see how we get on. Well, as you can see, the fire is going. It's now what I call self-supporting, so it's burning itself without me having to intervene by adding cardboard. I tend to light it either side because I've found over the years that usually one side will go, not both, and you never can predict which is the side which is going to ignite. So I double my chances. In theory, this should be the side which lights best because fire likes to burn uphill. But I tend to find actually that side's the side that goes. But this time it's working to type. So now I'm just going to stand back and tend it where it needs tending. And then wander off once it's done, which hopefully won't be too long. I don't have what I call a rolling bonfire today, which is where I lay out extra material to keep topping the bonfire up. I was too ill to get to that point. I haven't achieved as much as I thought I might this long weekend, but I'm trying to cope with that as best I can, which is hard for me. Anyway, at least we're going out with a bit of a bang, so to speak. Well, I think we can call that a success. That took half an hour, and it's now just going to tick over and burn away quite gently until it's all burned down to nothing. So I'm going to head off and make preparations for phoning all sorts of people to see if I can get the heating and hot water situation fixed.
One final update for this week, just to say I was able to get through to the range people and they are coming tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated next week at this point. But who knows? Will and I have plans. There's a few options floating around. But as I say, I'll let you know when I know. So I hope you have a nice weekend and I will see you again soon, I hope. Bye for now.